connect and do a few little bits on Facebook. Hello, everybody. If you're going to be joining us or watching this live stream, I'm here with Robert. And could you pronounce your surname, please? Because
Van Kooten.
Wow.
So, it's Robert Van Kooten. It's Dutch.
Right. Yes. So where are you living at the moment, Robert?
In Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Have you lived there that long? Have you always lived there?
All my life.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not always in Amsterdam itself, but mostly around Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
And now I live in the northern part of Amsterdam, which is like a little village, but it's connected to Amsterdam.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got a garden, and it's really nice, really lovely.
Oh, that's really nice. So do you sort of commute on the river?
Yes, I have to do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah. That's a nice neighborhood. Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really lovely. So I'm just going to check what's happening with Facebook. If anyone's sort of joining us, we've got a couple of people. So if you are watching, please. We've got Nikki Sumner. She's a lady that I'm working with. So yes, we have Nikki. Hi, Nikki. So if you have any questions at all, then please put some comments up. And
is it an idea that I introduce myself, how I came up to light language?
Yes, do that while I'm.
Yeah. Okay. In the beginning of the lockdown in Holland, it was the beginning of March. I was looking at how to do remote viewing, and somehow it was interesting. It made me interested in it, and somehow it didn't. When I was really getting close to it, it didn't land. And then suddenly a course on Zoom passed by from Grace Home, and I subscribed to that for doing light language, and I didn't even realize what it was, but it was the right price, right timing, and it was like, okay, do it. And she had a course of 4 Friday evenings, and which was an activation, and then with 60 persons tried to do light language. And the first 2 sessions didn't kick off with me. I was like, I'm a bit, the ego was telling me, you're stupid, you can't do it, and everything, blah, 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 negative. And a friend of mine, she was doing light language as well. And she really took me by the ear, and she said, okay, now you do it. And so she kicked forward my light language, and I had to do it. I was forced almost. And then suddenly, multiple light language, I call it dialect, came through. And the funny thing was that in the course, most people didn't realize what they were telling, or they were more curious where it's coming from. And for me, it was really clear what I was telling. It was directly, the different dialects were clear, almost always. And so if it was, and then the dialects came across each other, so it was not like one sentence could be more dialects, and still I could understand what happened. But it was always, it still is always indirect. So I tell the light language, it comes through, and then I can tell what happened, and I can tell what happened energetically or on earthly matters, which is for most people helpful because their mind wants to know what's happening, and the combination is working together. Yeah. So that's how I came into light language. And from that course, there was a mutual friend of ours, and she said, maybe it's a good idea that you take contact with Nicola. And so that's how it happened, so that we made contact. And in the beginning, we just had 2 conversations, I remember, in which I was not sure what direction it would go. And then it really went spinning off because we had to light language each other a bit. Yeah. So that's how I realized that it would be a good idea to go into the mentorship, you call it, I think. And that's kicking off also really good and helping me to establish my light language more strongly, firmly. And which was not, I wasn't afraid of doing it, but it's more making it more grounded, more stabilized.
Oh, that's really good. I think our last session was really good as well, wasn't it? We got quite a bit through.
Yeah.
So what we was finding, wasn't we, Robert, is that you hold a key, I hold a key. Something has to sort of like happen here to happen here to happen here, and we've sort of been activating each other, haven't we?
Yeah, we can do it now if you want to as well.
Oh yeah, we could
see if we can find the same or another key, because there were multiple layers and multiple levels and multiple keys hidden there. That was told us to us as well.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Should we do that?
Yeah, and see what happens. So if people see it, and
you don't mind that, I don't mind it. If I can unlock another piece of the jigsaw puzzle, it's all good for me. So we're going to do a live one. Didn't see this coming.
Hello, me too. But it's always like that with you. Something comes up like
we just feel like we have a sort of a structure, don't we? And then it just goes ping.
Yeah, so exactly.
Your higher self is actually sort of dominating this conversation, which is amazing. I must say, Robert. Very impressed, actually.
Okay, thank you to my higher self then.
Okay. Before I actually came on, before we actually came on live, I was like, I felt, and this is quite an interesting thing. We'll talk about this first before we go into doing a sort of like a sort of semi sort of session. But I was sort of sat down. I'd taken Louise out for a walk, and I came in, didn't I? And then I said, "Oh, I've got to clean myself because Nicola wouldn't be able to hold a conversation." And then you said, Robert, didn't you? Well, actually, you're putting yourself down, and
exactly.
that was really interesting. So, and it's all about that ego, isn't it? Of if I'm just totally in Nicola, and I'm in ego mind, I sort of feel that I'm a little bit dim and not able to do something. And that's my belief system that I need to really break down to allow myself to rise up a little bit more. And
yeah, and it's quite, for me, it seems like a programming in your field. So it always looks like a piece of bread with multiple pieces. In restaurants, they serve it. We call it plukbrood. It's like tearing bread. And so they're pieces. They don't seem to be the same. They're all bread, but they look different. But they all belong together. And such a program is in that field. So if I may, Kuin gamas tu kuidada kai snukadam bohuka kai kumbas tumbu kukutuku kai shimu fufuya shatai kumbaboy mo miungogo stuk kai strk mufai.
You're absolutely right. Thank you for that. See, this is what we do, don't we? We sort of activate each other in conversation, and that's amazing. That's affected me in some way. That's interesting, Robert. Thank you for that. It's actually pushed me forward in a little bit more strength for the ego. I think this is why that. Do you know when I said that we get like this piece of the jigsaw puzzle to get to this, and I needed to talk about my ego for you to say that dialect, so that triggers that, so then something else is going to happen now, which is what we was going to do. To see how it all fits in.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yeah.
It's amazing. Right, I've got Claire on Facebook, and we've got Nikki Sumner and 5 others that are in the house. So if you do want to comment or ask any questions about this experience that we're just going to be doing, then please sort of say. There are other things that I've shared it out onto Facebook, but if you're watching it from a different group, then you may want to go on my personal one, so that would then I'll be able to see the comments if anyone's watching and wants to actually know what we're up to. Or on a replay, then just send me some messages. Or Robert's got his Facebook page there if you want to connect with Robert. If you find that he is resonating, that there's comments in the side there about that. So right, now that's all been said, we're going to get down to some work. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's see what I'm going to tune in then. Let's tune in and then just see what we get. And I thank you for that dialect. That has definitely shifted something. I think it's the conscious fact that something's happened, but sometimes you don't know what's happened until a little bit later. Until it's sort of like finished, then we don't sort of tend to know, do we? And we unpack it afterwards, and then we're like, oh, that's what's happened. Okay. So again, it's that remembrance, isn't it? Okay, so I'm just setting up some grid work here to see what we're going to get. Duh. And obviously, Robert, if anything sort of comes in through you.
Can I just do it then?
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Sama kumaha tu kuskai tu puskai kai stutar takakai kur babai shu shu. It's really in the throat working at the moment for me.
Yeah, I'm here. Do your hands go? Your hands go as well?
Always, but I have to do it now in the camera. It's like, oh my boy, don't baha to kukusta boy stakai rikaka
I think you're bringing through a dialect for me.
A new one? Or?
Yeah, you're bringing through a dialect for me. I just had that confirmed. I've not had that one before, because that dialect I don't actually speak. Wait a minute.
Not yet.
Oh, I think you're doing an activation of a dialect for me, Robert. It is a hidden. Okay, they've just said it's a hidden dialect. Not many actually speak that, but you speak. It's off Galaxy. I only know one other person that potentially will be doing this, which they've showed me is Georgia Polden, because she speaks very similar to that dialect. I'll get to connect with her and send her this video, actually. She might be able to.
But my problem, it's not really the right word, but my thing is that I don't pick the dialects myself. They're just...
No, you don't.
You do the picking at this moment, and the other person I'm talking to next time is doing the picking. So it's always getting through me.
Yeah. I can hear a little bit of background with my voice on your... Have you got two things going on?
Nope.
No. Okay. It's just that I can hear like a back thing on it. Okay. That'll still some code coming in. But again, I'm going to go back to... Cool, those codes coming in. There's a link here with you as well, Robert. Instead of Bishana Makita Diana Maguio Balakita Nation of Bayetarisha. Shuno Batu Kitiana Kita Daria Paninga to buy Bashana Makita to buy to Repetishi. So if anyone's watching, please allow yourself to connect with this also. There's some codes coming in for the synchronized viewing souls that are around. So this is actually for everybody at this moment. Abishama Kita Bayana Magola Bayana Magita the Basho, Logogana Magito the Bashana Kita Darash. Okay, they're opening up a portal right now to download this information that's going to come in. So if you're watching, and Robert, there'll be like a feeling of like a tube going over your head. They're giving a download, thank you. And they're anchoring it down into the earth grid through the physical body, energetic field. Did you feel that? It's like a tube that went right down through the center. Did anyone else pick that up, Nikki, Claire, or Dolores that's watching?
it was really, I could feel it really good. And the heart area, the solar plexus was really opening up.
Yeah.
Really getting like I didn't feel like a tube, but it was narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I felt it like they showed it to me, so from my perspective, it felt like a
Yeah.
Okay, what else are we getting? Okay, so they've placed that in energetically around our field. It's sitting in a different dimension. So in our physical dimension, we can't see it, or we can feel it to a certain degree because of the vibration of it. But it's actually, if we was sitting in a different dimension, then we would absolutely see it. And they're working around us at the moment. Claire, I don't know whether you're actually picking up on this. Okay, what are you picking up what race this is, Robert?
I'm not into the races.
It's very quick, but it's not Arcturian. They're only little. Might be that race, Claire, that we dealt with yesterday. I was with Claire yesterday, and there's a race that came through. They're really little. They're almost like a fairy. They look like a fairy. Oh, I didn't send you, Claire, that picture. We started to be on live stream.
This is light language.
Like, we're on telly. It's really excitable. Wait a minute. Can you feel that sort of like real childishness?
No. Just like Oh, that's beautiful. We didn't expect this.
No, Robert. Oh, Ali's actually said that she's got that wonderful. She said it's gone straight down her down the central channel. Yeah, and she actually believes it's the fairy energy as well.
Mm.
I feel it's more galactic than fairy. Yes, it's more it's like a galactic fairy. So they're only little, but I've been working with them quite a lot lately, and I worked with Claire. Yes, they're here, Claire said. So they're here. Just asking for a message. They want to work with more the collective.
Mm.
They want to bring more joy into the matrix. So they're going to be working with a lot of people, bringing a lot more joy in.
Beautiful.
It's like they said that they've been recruited. They've been recruited by the Galactic Federation to come in to bring joy into the hearts of the light workers, because they've been through such torment and dealing with everything, that it would help them hold the higher frequencies of light.
Beautiful. Wow. To
bring joy into the heart. I got all tingles. To ignite the heart full of fire, full of passion of love and of joy. To be of like a childlike presence. To laugh and to be joyful.
Wow, amazing. I felt the shivering as well.
Sorry?
I felt the shiverings as well. Really, really powerful, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else is getting anything here. United together again, lovely souls, very enlightening, Claire says. Wonderful. Thank you, Claire, for saying that. It's nice to have those confirmations, isn't it? Wait a minute, they're still going. They're just setting up grid works.
Beautiful. Yeah.
They are really funny, aren't they? Wait a minute.
Oh, this is great.
You know, like, you know, I know you live in Amsterdam, Robert, but you know. Okay, it's lifting a little bit, but they're definitely staying around. Okay, to bring a joyful elevation of energetic frequencies of love.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, Claire.
Okay. Did you see also Ali Mills on our chat?
Yeah, space fairies, she said. Spaceship fairies. And Claire said, yeah, she's feeling this really happy energy. So I hope that everybody that's watching is feeling this energy, because it's really, really
nice.
good, isn't it?
Really nice. Yeah.
You just sort of just come back from a really good party.
Yeah, or being on a good party. Yeah.
Yeah. Party.
Yeah.
God, how do you follow that up? Wait a minute. Let's see if you get anything come through, Robert. Their energies are crazy.
That's beautiful, yeah. It's much better than to be serious light workers. This is more fun.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm all for this. I work with them every day. I will.
Can we ask that they can stay?
Yeah.
They will stay now.
Yeah, they're anchored in.
They're anchored in.
They've anchored into our field. So okay, so whenever we're feeling a little bit down, we just call upon them. They say, you know what you've actually read, Ali, space fairies. Upon the space.
Call the space fairies.
Fairies.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
Oh, Heather also is actually feeling it actually throughout our whole body. Thank you, she said. So Heather on Facebook is feeling it as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow. Okay.
So how's the Nicole ego doing at the moment?
Well, I'm feeling really good. Yeah,
no problem anymore.
No.
Okay, cool. I just had to call in the space fairies to do this.
You did?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Robert. I owe you one. Here we go. Well, let's see what we get through. So it's my ego stopping me. I'm just going to surrender to it. Wait a minute. Oh, I feel this is a different race coming in. Wait a minute. Can you feel that calming down of the energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's calming down. There's another energy that's coming in. Wait a minute. They're coming in saying too much of good thing actually would actually be not bad for you, but there's a polarity of it. They're just sort of like calming the energy down.
Mm-hmm.
This is a slower energy and a little bit more serious. We want space. We want the space.
We like the party.
Let's see what we're getting something else through. Wait a minute. Oh, how interesting. Okay. Oh, that's slowing right down. Logoresianora. God, these are quite opposite, aren't they? Wait a minute.
Yeah, more.
No, they're just turning it down.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're toning it down.
We were too enthusiastic.
Poopers.
Yeah. I haven't learned anything. Yeah.
Oh,
great.
oh, how funny. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's see what we get from that then. So yeah, it is a collective. It is a collective integration that has occurred here, which is amazing. So we can sort of post that out with that. So if you're watching this on a replay, please connect to the dialect and connect with the energy from Robert and myself, and then you'll pick up on that integration in a conscious way, which will be important because you can watch sort of, okay, so this is where it's going. So when we watch somebody speak or hear somebody speak light language, we can tune in and absolutely connect with the dialect and the energetic flow of it because we're ready for it. On the other hand, is that if you're not ready for that dialect and the light codes that are coming in, you're not going to pick up on it. It might go in, so they're saying it might go in subconsciously where it activates in a later time along the linear timeline, or it might not, it might just skim past you. So when you listen to somebody's light language, whether it's myself or Robert or anyone else that speaks light language, your soul will catch the dialect, which is like an imprint of information, and process it into the energetic field. Sometimes it goes straight in like it did today through the pure channel and it anchors in and it's integrated like that. Sometimes it goes into the template. Yeah. So what they're doing now is they're just sort of like unpacking the whole experience that we've gone through. So sometimes that dialect will come in, but it's sit in the template. But when you're ready, it'll integrate within their own space. But there is the connection to the Earth's grid that they require, working through our physical body.
Yeah.
So where we're here physically in the matrix system, they can use us as a vessel, as a conduit to work through us to anchor in. Because they're coming from a higher vibrational dimension, or a place that they're actually coming in from, they cannot come down in such density. They're using us to enable them to anchor in their energy. So we're almost like if you throw an anchor over the side of the boat, and you're anchored into that part of the sea, and that's you can sort of.
That's a good explanation. Yeah, definitely.
So we're the conduit. We're here, so we either are conscious of it or we're not conscious of the fact that we are a conduit. Joe, when we say that we're going to go and do grid work, you're sent somewhere and you don't know why you're going there, but you just go, and they just use your physical body to anchor in some light there and to do some grid work. But when you're conscious of it, then it will then affect your multidimensionality and your connection to your higher self. So so where we're light workers, that we've woken up and remember to a certain extent, we are in tune with that activation, with the dialect coming through, so we're more conscious of it. Some people will be unconscious of it and they will just go along with their business, bumbling along until they're ready to wake up to this information, or they may not be aware of it at all, and then they just sort of like go along on their journey. Are you getting anything through?
Sorry?
Are you getting anything through?
No, it was only what I want to point out is that the way you use light language and I use it are similar but different as well. Because you have more like a direct line to your higher self and your team. And for me, it's like it's more getting through. It's like you explained it more. It was like a sword hitting directly to where it needs to be, and yours more like a process. So we do the same thing. But it's still completely different. So I'm always interested when you explain things, because you got more the total package of the information, and for me it's more like I just did this and I didn't have the surrounding yet, or maybe I will never get it.
No. Oh, kaya ba tori mi shabayan dora ba shodura tikia to shoma kie deshi. No, it's not that case actually. It's because I've been doing it slightly longer in the linear timeline. Doesn't mean to say I'm better than you. It's just that
that's not better, or that
no. But this will activate within you that you'll be able to, you will actually bring this through. The more the longer the linear timeline, the more we integrate, the more we remember, and therefore this will be in your now moment a little bit further on down the line. But it will activate within you. So don't.
No, but then I didn't forget that you explained me that you were walking in the bush with a machete in front of me, and you were looking back, and I was saying, "Oh, that's a nice walk in the wood." So I'm getting you doing the work. And
this way, Robert.
Yeah. So it didn't make my light language smaller or less of any degree, but it was more like it's a different approach at this moment, and it looks. Yeah. It gets to the same goal, or it even combined, it even gets to further goals what we experience. So like today we're doing something like you explained. I had the key to open something in your heart area, and you could therefore open something in my heart area, and therefore for the whole collective, or maybe collective and collective, we could open things or activate things like we did just now, which is beautiful, because somehow we are like the tribes and opposite tribes we already discovered, that something is for ages already working or not working together, and therefore a lot of things can be revealed and relieved. So it's funny that there is something that your ego is showing me. It resonates with my light language, and the next level of the game is opened, or can be opened. It's really interesting. It's
really interesting, isn't it? That the more that sort of and this is what I've been saying as well, is the more that we connect with like-minded souls that we all really sort of connected to, and you sort of feel that there is a resonance, is that when you connect with them, then all things happen. And I know, with Claire yesterday, that when we worked together, and Claire won't mind me saying, is that we worked together, and her light language was coming, and I was sort of coming, and so Claire says it's the same, Robert. We grow, evolve, connect, and evolve more than ever, and it's different, and it will all come. So I know that when I work with people like yourself and Claire, that that we do activate each other.
Yeah.
And the more that we can come together, the greater it becomes, and it sort of keeps on pushing our boundaries.
Yeah.
And when we suppress the language, when we suppress and we don't want to sort of like heal with the use of light language, then you're doing yourself a disservice, and it really recommend that if anybody is going through this journey and they're not too sure, if they're just starting to wake up to the fact that that's what they're doing, then please connect with us, with watching YouTube videos, get a greater understanding of what is occurring, because when you go into not being aware or understanding, you go into fear, and then fear stops you from going down the path, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think, in my belief, everybody is a light language speaker, because we're all starseeds. So there's some part of us which remembers it anyway. And most of us, as a child, have been talking stupid languages because the only children could understand. And if you go back to that time and start redoing that, or reactivating that language, that's a basis already.
Yeah.
So I think that anybody who's speaking light language can activate the light language from another person as well.
Yeah.
So there's no big thing in it. It's just the ego stopping it.
Yes. Yes. I was working with a lady yesterday with sort of talking about her daughter, and her daughter's 4, and she speaks light language, this 4-year-old. And what I was saying was that please keep that going with that child, because if we sort of say, oh, stop talking that gobbledygook, that silly language, we switch it off.
Yeah.
And so if we've got any children out there that are completely switched on, that they're really sort of holding an awful lot of light, that they're speaking light language, is to encourage it. And so that others, so yes, babies and little ones definitely speak light language.
Yeah.
So absolutely. So we need to encourage that, because when they don't unlearn or forget that dialect, they can hold their remembrance and bring that forward into their life. And that's what we're going to experience a lot more of, is our children. But what we need to do is we need to talk to their parents and the carers to say, this is normal, this is the evolution of.
Yeah, plus that if we let them think that's not normal, they get a layer of program of shame on themselves, and that's a real hard one to get, because it's like splinters in multi levels in the system. So that really gets deep into their system, and it will take a longer time, linear time, to get it out again. So it's really harmful for them if you don't let them explore their own languages. And there's nothing. Sometimes parents don't understand what their children are talking. I got a few neighbor kids, and they didn't talk until they were 4, but they were talking light language. I could talk to them. But their parents were like, yeah, I don't understand. They don't listen to us, and they don't speak our language. But if you just let them go, they will, because they're not ready to speak our language yet.
Yes, I remember when I was a child, Robert, I had really a hard time speaking English. I had a really hard time, and my son was exactly the same. We just sort of found it really difficult. My sister had to translate what I was saying, and it was when I was going to school, when I was sort of turning sort of 5 or 6, that's when I started to actually sort of use English. But it's because I wasn't resonating with a linear language. And even now I find sometimes my sort of the language, it's harder to sort of like work through, and to speak another language. I try to speak sort of all different sort of language, and I'm like, oh, I can't get it. But light language just flows, because that is my dialect.
And for me, it's also that especially in Dutch, my native language, there's a lot of programming in embodied in the language. It's like I was talking to somebody about de-armoring, and for instance, maybe not the right topic, but pubic hair is translated directly in Dutch. It's like shame hair.
Is it?
Yeah. So there are lots of programs in it that you already get armors inside your system by even just talking or thinking in the language. So it's very understandable that if you're a light language speaker by natively, it's not English, but natively, that it feels more fluent, more natural, and that the language you have to learn, you already understand, or just feel and sense that there are a lot of programs in it that you don't like. That's which is keeping you tight.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Is that that, like you say, if you've got a vibration of a word that holds a meaning, and then it's just sort of spoken, it puts the vibration of it. It goes out into the the matrices, out energetically, and out up into the universe. So it is those sort of that is a really interesting conversation. But I know what you're saying.
And the fairies are back. The space fairies are coming back.
Right. Okay. So, have we got anybody else that has any questions as we're on here? Oh, we've got people from Denmark. I don't know if you're still on here, Denise, which is really good. And somebody from Pedro was on from Florida. So we've got people all over the world. How wonderful.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah. International.
Galactic fairies.
Yeah. And Ali says that our languages have a lot of negative imprints in them. Yeah, you call them imprints, but it resonates with me. It's like programs for me, and mostly they seem negative, but sometimes they're made to make us think in a certain way. So that could be both, I think. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
Thanks, Ali. So what sort of work are you doing at the moment, Robert, with your with your work?
With my light language, well, I work with spiritually, like an intuitive healer. That's what I do for 20 years now. I started with Reiki, and but it was all like procedures and things you have to do, and I didn't like that. I liked the connection from the heart, and I worked with tuning forks, and which is rather nice because it's picking up the right frequency from the universe and brings that back into the body. So that's really rather effective, and it also gets to boundaries because the frequency trembles through it. And now I combine it with light language, which is much more powerful, I understand, and I see. And I started light language only 3 months ago, so it's picking up now. I have a couple of clients a day, and mostly what I do is make sessions combined of 5 sessions because I believe that it's all interrelated to each other. And if you don't pick that multiple sessions up, then it's like an old long player. The needle will go back in the old groove, and it will jump in back, so it doesn't anchor. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. Combining this.
It's interesting you're saying about sort of doing multiple sessions, because I was sort of going through a phase of you come to me when you need me and things like that, but I'm sort of shifting my understanding into actually that when you have one session, yes, if you're already on that path, one session, I think when you're beginning of your journey, you do need a couple of sessions at least to get you on that track, because it's funny, because I don't know about yourself, but you do a healing with somebody, you facilitate a healing with someone, and they sort of go away feeling really sort of like sort of elated, they're feeling in their flow, then they sort of normalize, and then the ego comes in with another layer that needs to be cleared. And then it's almost like a mind process that then people feel, well, that was a waste of time because I'm that again. So it's important for us to say, yes, you have layers and layers and layers, and you, in between the layers of you coming to a session that we facilitate, you need to be aware of what you can do with your self-empowerment to enable you to do, to maintain it at your own, your own way. So it's a combination, isn't it, of your self-care and also coming to a practitioner that will be able to push you through to your next layer for you to then become totally independent and then have your tweaks along the way. So that's important, actually.
And mostly when they come first, they don't even realize that they can speak light language and what light language really does to them. So it's like understanding that it's life-changing. It's quicker than any other healing way I ever done or known. And it's because it doesn't know the earthly boundaries, it just gets through it. And that when the first layer is opened, then the playing ground is showing where you can go. And mostly people are like, oh, maybe I can combine it with what I've learned with my shamanic things or whatever. And and yes, you can combine it, and yes, we can activate that, and yes, there's a lot of things which will show when you do that, which are still manageable. And so there's it's not like an advertising for more sessions, but I think it just works like that.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that was my mindset that I was feeling. So my ego was like, well, I don't want to push people along with but I think it's actually as a from that sort of profession.
Can we do another one? Shall we do another one?
Do another sort of light
Light
language.
language?
Yes, see if we get something else coming, shall we?
Because something else is coming up now.
Oh, can you feel it?
Yeah, because your ego was showing something. And you were talking about your ego. That was my ego, and then suddenly I was like, "Okay, come back, shakatum, bokukutaka, shnyoka, kuha, shumboboha, kan zungukum bushta, bogmadaya, kamakama, shumakumai, ohoha, shukukuhui, kuyashakai, ooh, gangangangang, shoo, kikiku." Ooh, fairies are still there. I can feel that.
Again, aren't they? They're just sort of like come with a big wave. Did you feel it?
Oh, wow.
So if anybody's joined us, we had earlier we had some space fairies come in, and so you might want to watch that replay, but they're back again. They've sort of like come back in, haven't they? I think we
still feel that.
Yeah, that we needed to integrate that into our system, and now they're coming back again. Well, I felt that on the throat. Tu dia ba makita na makita lokotati na makita da ba sho na makita da mare ro bare ke da ba na mare ho bishani siana kia ora pe te bishana makita da bale na mako ba te shana makita da mawe Tede shadow lo gora ba te ne misa da ba shana makita da malaka da balaka da moloko balage na magi to be sure to rata desh Siana makita da bayana makita da balaka da bena matu do balake shana makita da shana shana makita ba go balake da machine bakina makita da balana makio balake to shana makita da malaka da bena molaka da bai it's going to go a bit faster moment but you should gonna be in the magi I'm gonna be no to kurabati sheet in the market about a shoot Siona Maria Margara and Martipita da Pariana Margara to the Palaka and Margara Bisham Margara and Margara did to get to Babaki to Tatabi and Margara by to Coribita to Marsho, the Piana Makita when you more but she. Shamaragara bay to the Bashana Makita the Bay and Margara by to the Bishana Makita the Palaka Banabaraga by you to look at the Viashana Makita the Bari and Maria by shoe. Siona Maria the Coparisho Margara bay to the Bashu Maria Margara bay to the Bashapiana Makito, but it's Shona Makita that is she. Siona Maria the Barakata Managata Shola Bayata the Abapa Yamako the Barakata Manashola Margara bay to the Pushulaga Bayana Magi to the Balakata Matosho. Siomarica the Bishana Mikata Balakata Balakata Malakata Bishana Maya Boko Balakata Sha. Sho Paria Margarita the Bishana Maria Barakarama. Sioria Baito, Shopia, Tu, Grashana Maki, Tatabishanma, Siomagabo, Rapi, Tadabishana Mikita Paria Maragarabaito, Rabata Tatia Baki Managaraba, Siona Maria Barakarabaki, Managarabishana Maria, Managarabaya, Managarita, Tatia, Papa Yamati, to the Bishana Maki, to the Bulagamanash. Siona Maki, the Bitana Mashia, the Bayan Maya, to the Bay, to the Bishanama, Siona Medic, the Payam Managarabit, the Madisha Managarabayamati, to do Shobarikama, Siona Maria Baricana Maricata Pishamani to Papa Papia, Papa to party the mother witch. Crikey, that was fast. Shumanaga Shumanaga bit the Marisha, but again, Margaret, Margaret shut the Yamaki, but the Tata Managata to Poloco, Balacana Mashut again, my deep Tata bit by Shamniki. Shop to Mugro, Shukura, to get that she papa, bit the bush. Just bring some came a minute by shoot to rabbit again she. Shumanaga to shoot to go in she, ekiato, ugrabati she, ekiato, uko, ush. Did you feel that? It's like an unzipping. That bit, like a layer. Now, they've integrated something. Wait a minute. Wasn't like a narrow tube, this one. It was more like a wave.
Yeah.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, the whole body wave.
Yeah, it's widen up. Widen, like wide. Woo! Can you feel that? It's like a big expansion. Oh, they just said, bathe in the light of God. Shado krasha kyama we kita shogorate shi. It's like a big bubble of light around us. Ma pe shana kite tu sho. Shona gidare shana gidare sha. Feel that strength and warrior self coming through, Robert. Shana ba gidare shana gidare bitana ma kyo po kiete sha. Shogu gradi shono gu grate te sha tu gorebada bashu. It is remembrance of the warrior self that brings you through your strength. Ashano go ba gidare shiki atara mitara ba ne gidara bashu. Loko bashana ba gidara bashu no ma gidare sha. Turip shana wogo balagita the makito the bakita the she. Eta the bitana makito the balagitana moesha. Siasu shu gratesha namike to the basho no magu grabesho. Eta the bishana makito the bagita the she. Shona magita the basho no magishi siana kita rebe. Siano do rate de shita rishana makita da beto da bakura beshi. Siano bakita da baki a toto peto grabat nai show rapete de madagadabayo to rabatishi. Loco rate kiatari misare sha. Loco rabe shana makia shata. Sio rabate de shona makita da bisana machu tia shu. Loco rate shana makita de shana kita da bayo go rate de shi. Siano curate di chia tatani ma pokra batana ma quishi. Gada tia to the best in a mesho la kita metto ba. Lugo rate shana makita da besuna makishana makita da shana mikito the bora batete shi. Shoko rabatena makita do rabatati sha. Tu rabatana mishita ribita na makita rebisho. Lugo rabatana makita da mashu logo bayena makita da mahwe. Television makita da besta na makura besta na mishado rush luko de beta na makita da besta na makita da mawe kiata da bayu kriata da makita da bashana kita da bish luko de besta na makita da makita da makita da makita da makita da makita da I've got some coming in mate da bishana mikita bariga marido rush you feel that integration coming in so to be then shit that is shana makita da na makita da got some codes to anchor it in mate da Torrebisione margraveiana vai avoro, muri tishite. Sioma kite de bishana kita do. Okay, they're just telling me where it's coming from. A minute. This is not from a planet. This is from a star station. Tatush kuratesh. It is a star station anchored in space as if it's like a planet. I'm just trying to get some information. Wait a minute. They're saying that it's a planet that is anchored into space, but it moves with space, but it doesn't move around space. So space moves around, no, it moves in space, but it's in a fixed place as if it's orbit. Thank you. Batush. So it's like it's a planet where it would move like a planet, but it's anchored in there as if it was a planet, but it's not a planet. Interesting. Thank you. Any more information? And it's like a disc. I'm getting like a picture of a disc. So it's quite flat. So it's not like like you would sort of think of a planet as being, like a sphere, but it's very sort of like a dish. Yeah. So they're showing me, just a minute. So it's got a lot of metallic. It's very sort of metallic. It's like a metallic, but it's got lots of plants in it. So it's like it's like its own planet, but it's very metallic. Lots of silvers. Silvers, no golds, silvers, platinums, greys, but they've lightened it up with different plants from different solar systems. There's a mixed races on this starship. they're sort of showing all different races. So we got tall races, short races, all different races living together in harmony on this starship. But it's not called a starship, but that's how they're interpreting it with me. Living in peace and harmony. It's about living in peace and harmony. And they want to anchor that into the Earth's grid, so that it would interject this into our being, and knowing that this is the way forward for us to evolve, is living in peace and harmony. Thank you. So they're projecting that energy down from that source of energy they draw upon from their civilization to enable us to anchor that in our system, to remember who we are, and that we have this resonance of love and unconditional love at that, to enable us to allow us to integrate with all people of all types, of all understandings, of all polarities, to always see that side of their innate sovereignty, regardless of how they're playing and acting out in this human reality of self. It is an illusion that when we see people, when they're playing the game, that is not their authentic self. And we need to make sure that we look at people through a misted glass, and that when we wipe that glass clear, we see the beauty within them, regardless of what the learned behaviors or the assumptions and judgments that sit in the mind about others, that this is actually, that we need to sort of demist our vision of people and see what is being held behind the misted programming, if that makes sense. Oh, how beautiful. Thank you. Many of us that will resonate with this soul tribe have an access to this planetary system. They're calling it a planetary system. Oh, okay. There is a multitude of these space disc-like stations around the Earth. So this is just one that we're tapping into right now, but they are around, holding the different star families who are watching us with the they're giving me a sort of a vision, Robert, of like a screen watching us. So they're like, it's, like that film with thingy Carey on it, Jim Carrey, and they're watching what's going
when he's the it must be like this for them.
They've probably got our sort of StreamYard.
Yeah.
And they're all going, oh, what's Nicola doing now? Oh, they're giving me that image of that's actually what's happening up there. So, let's have a little look in and check out what's actually happening.
Also, Nikki says that this unrolled Madame. She has a feeling strong connection. She has been there.
Oh, really? Oh, that
was indeed Ali, the Truman Show. Yes, that was what you were mentioning. Yeah.
Truman Show. It's like they're watching us, like the Truman Show.
It must be funny, though.
You never sent the spaceships fairies down.
Yeah. There were multiple of them.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Christina here on Facebook has just said, well, before I said about the star space thing, and she had a vision about it, and it was metallic.
Yeah, that's what you're telling also. Yeah.
Wow, thanks, Christina.
Really tuned in.
Heather says Truman Show. Wow. Oh, that is isn't it beautiful when you get confirmations from other people that they actually see the same thing? Because if you allow your ego to really get in there, you'd be like, is that true? Is that, but you know what you experience, don't you?
Of course.
And it's about surrendering to the process, allowing that to integrate into your system, that when you pick up on these things, it is not your imagination, because your imagination is a gateway into the remembrance. And we think of, because we've been programmed, that our imagination is actually something that's like made up, but it's not. It's when we feel it and we experience it, then it's absolutely our truth. And it's about being authentic to that and holding it and surrendering trust in it, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if they've got any other things that are coming through. But it's the key message. What they're saying here is absolutely, it is about the integration of everybody coming together as a collective and no separation. It doesn't matter if you're living in Amsterdam or England or America or Australia or India. Doesn't matter. We place borders around the world.
Yeah.
We put borders around our property. This is my space, and what I'm sort of getting absolutely is that there are no boundaries, that, I am you, you are me. This is all of ours. This, that it belongs to no one. It is everybody's. And it's to really sort of sit with that and to allow that to sort of come in. And I know that we're living in this sort of duality, this polarity of the human world, and we do have our own space and everything, but it's it's about inviting. Okay, what they're saying. It's about sharing. It's about seeing if there's anybody that needs that help, that needs assistance, but not giving away your power to them. And everything should be an energetic flow. So it's rather, and it's the old thing, isn't it? Like money is that we pay for something to pay for something else, to pay for something else. But what they're saying is if there's like an energy exchange, if there's an energy exchange, so that you get this flowing fluidity of blending. And it creates a sense of peace, because when we are connected, when we do feel in our flow, when we feel understood, when we have an understanding and awareness of what's happening, it allows us to just feel that we fit.
I think for me, it's this whole live session is sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just thinking. Sorry.
This whole live session is showing what's all about. It's like working together, co-create, get information, which is getting grounded in your system, and it's like we're all the same, we're all one. It's all love.
Yeah.
This show is telling everything, I think. Yeah.
It has, isn't it? I have thoroughly enjoyed this process. Thank you.
Thank you. They did it together, so yeah. And with the fairies, of course.
And with the fairies and the galactics. Right. Is there any questions before we go? Not that I want to go, because I could be talking forever, you know me. Is there anything that anybody's got that they've got any questions about that are for Robert or myself? It's been a very, very interesting live stream today, and thank you for that, to sort of bring in that live in, 2 integrations and activations and anchoring into the Earth's grid is amazing. Alice says, thank you guys. And it's our pleasure. It's been absolutely amazing. Siono Gorasia, so they just want to thank everybody. Siono Makiano do Shodora Shida Isianamasha. So it's about living in the heart. Asiana Koyabora Siana, trust the process and surrender. Bayinamai de Sunogo Bayi Gitarasha. Alekitara Betora Bora Nishi. Lagiatana Makia Torabashi. Bayukura Pakiana Mokorabashi. So yeah, it's all about the heart. It's all about surrendering. It's all about blending, collaborations, coming together rather than that separation, which is beautiful. Thank you. So yeah, they're enjoy that this information has been anchored into this system. Whoever watches and resonates with this live stream today or on replay, that it's something that our galactic families are sending down in pulses of light in our field, and and the space fairies are like, alas. Oh yeah, yeah, and connect with our space families, connect, because we're all interconnected. It's not just this world. We're an aspect of all that we are.
Yeah.
It's about connecting to everything that we are, which is far beyond this little physical body. This is just a tiny little piece. It's just a tiny little piece of who we are. And it's remembering that we can anchor it into this reality.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you. Yeah.
Is there anything that you want to say, Robert?
No, I want to thank everybody and every energy which was working here, and I especially want to remember that somewhere in the 3/4 of the part there was a big bulb of light of God.
Yes.
So we can join in again and feel that big bulb of light and step into that and
watch that again and really sit with that and connect with it. And as we said during the session, is that we can connect with what comes through, or we can just let it pass through us. But when we purposely, consciously connect to some information that's coming through, then it does make a lot of difference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So yes, so people to connect with yourself, then just to remember on there for people to connect with Robert on Facebook on there, and for myself, I have my website, which is reikirussell.co.uk, so any mentorships or healing for myself. And then also my online courses that is quite a new adventure for me. There's 4 courses on there. There is a section on pure channeling. So if you want to actually get into pure channeling, also light language and using light language and sort of getting the sort of grips on the sort of basics of self-healing using your light language. There's a mentorship program and mindfulness for children I've got on there as well, Robert. I've got to do a bit on light language. I've got to do another course on light language for children, actually, and a energy awareness course, amongst other little things that are on there. So that's really good for people to have a little look at.
I'd like to add something, but without you, we wouldn't have been in this live stream doing this co-creation. So this the mentorship for me is really working out. It's like a promotion for you, but I think it's deserved. And so everybody who's listening to Nicola, just join in.
Oh, thank you, Robert. It has been, I must say, I absolutely have loved and still love working with you. We just sort of work so well, don't we? And I think with that sort of resonance of sort of working together and learning together, and it's really been very useful. And we're still on that journey, and we've and working together and sort of really enhancing your light language way forward for your journey as well. And the more that we sort of collaborate and come together, and we'll do another one of these.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it'll be really
fun.
good. Yeah. So who else can we bring in?
Yeah. We'll bring something new. Okay.
So I'll put some links up on Facebook, and I'll put some links up on YouTube. So and then I'll send that to you, Robert, and then you can then share that on your page as well, if people want to sort of watch the video and sort of gain some information and tap into the light language that came through, which is really very, very nice. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to end the broadcast. Stay on, Robert, and then we'll catch up at the end. And thank you everybody on Facebook as well for joining us, and it's been a really amazing experience. I've loved it so much. Okay, see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.